been going through seasons and talking about the changing seasons outside, but then also through seasons of life that we might go through internally as well. Either seasons of health, seasons of relational challenges, seasons of spiritual up and down, emotional up and down. All of these seasons happen, don't they? And we've been focusing on Ecclesiastes 1 to 3. And this brilliant kind of moment of Ecclesiastes where it starts off with, everything is utterly meaningless. And you go through that process of what is the point of anything, but then it draws you towards this point where the writer Solomon is talking about, you know what? He brings it round to actually, without God, everything is utterly meaningless. We go through these seasons of life, but ultimately we put our trust in God. And it brings some meaning, it brings some purpose, and some stuff we just do not understand. But it is about how to celebrate through all these different seasons, be it a good season or a tough season, but celebrating all the hard yards covered in the tough season and all the celebration in the good season. And to kind of frame it today, we're going to read from Psalm 65, verse 9 to 13. And Dylan, I'd asked if you could come and read it in Gymraeg for me, and then I'll read it in English as well. So Psalm 65, verse 9 to 13.
Ti'n gofalu am y ddeiaw, yn ei dyfrio a'i gwneud yn hynod ffrwythlon. Mae sianel dwyfol yn gorlifo o ddŵr. Ti'n rhoi id I bobl drwy baratoi y tir fel yma. Ti sy'n socian y cwysi ac mae dŵr yn llifo I chrychau. Ti'n mwydo y tir a chawodydd ac yn bendithio'r cnwd sy'n tyfu. Dy ddaioni di sy'n coroni y flwyddyn. Mae dy lwybrau di'n dyferu digonedd. Mae hyd yn oed porfa anialwch yn dyferu, a'i bryniau wedi gwisgo a llawenydd. Mae caeau wedi gorchuddio gyda defaid a geifr, a ddyffrynnoedd dan flanced o yd. Maen nhw'n gweiddi ac yn canu'n llawen.
You take care of the earth and water it, making it rich and fertile. The river of God has plenty of water. It provides a bountiful harvest of grain, for you have ordered it so. You drench the ploughed ground with land, melting the clods and leveling the ridges. You soften the earth with showers and bless its abundant crops. You crown the year with a bountiful harvest. Even the hard pathways overflow with abundance. The grasslands of the wilderness become a lush pasture, and the hillsides blossom with joy. The meadows are clothed with flocks of sheep, and the valleys are carpeted with grain. They shout and sing for joy. That's a great passage for harvest, because harvest is a great opportunity, isn't it, to celebrate and be thankful for the harvest and the produce of all the hard work of the year that has been done by the farmers, by the producers, by us earning the money to go and buy that food to buy from the farmers and producers. All of the toil and planning and planting and cultivating and reaping that has gone into the fruits of our labor. And of course, this in Psalm 65 speaks into all of that, but frames it as, God, thank you that through all of this, that you bring forth this bountiful harvest each year and throughout the year. And we want to be a community that celebrates all the toil done in various seasons of life, not just in the ground outside, but in the seasons of life of the heart. Being thankful through the good and the tough times. Because all seasons produce something, even in the natural world, like farmers now are planting their winter crops that will grow and be ready next spring. So even through winter, you produce something. Each season of life produces something, whether it is intentional or not. Those difficult, challenging seasons where you maybe are taking on an identity or something that is speaking into you that actually you know is not what you want to carry. You know this isn't what you want to take out of this season. Some of that stuff we've just got to rub off because it is filled with weeds. We know that it has just grown not the way that we want to, but then there's some stuff around resilience and perseverance that actually in tough seasons we want to take forwards. Maybe in good seasons we just kind of jolly along without really thinking about being thankful and cultivating that thankfulness spirit, thinking that everything is coming good because of our great work or just it's that season of life and shouldn't we be glad of it? But actually, we need to dig deep into the no. I am actually thankful to Father God and to those around me for all of the goodness that I am seeing and reaping in my life right now. Like Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11 says, God makes everything beautiful in its own time. Mae'n dwn gwneud I bopeth digwydd yn berffaith ar yr amser iawn. And we cannot fathom all that God has done. Like God makes everything beautiful in his own time. And like, as in, it sounds great, doesn't it? God makes everything beautiful. So if we are in the mire at the moment and we are in difficult times, we're kind of like, it's all right. God will make something good out of this. It all sounds good, doesn't it? But actually, in the real world, it can be quite difficult, can't it? In the reality of a situation, it can be like, God, can you really make anything out of this? The pain that we maybe carry, the suffering, the recognition that death does win over in the end. I don't know if you've ever met anyone that has been able to defeat death, but I'm still waiting to meet that person apart from there's one guy I know of. But actually, day to day, human lives do eventually end. But the thing is we can put our hope in wholeness after death, in a life to come. And this is a really difficult thing to talk about in our society because a posture of our society today is about control. We are obsessed with control, a mistrust of authority. Like, just look at the news. Every other story is about authority gone wrong. We're obsessed with controlling our data and told that we have access to our lives. We need to control that. There is constantly this battle to cling onto different areas of our life, whether it be our money, our time, our family, our work. And some of that is really good. But if we approach it unhealthily, it can just lead to stress. It can lead to anxiety, a mistrust and detachment from people and community. We can just become islands on our own, totally disconnected. And the irony is that there is a cost of this control that begins to control us in turn. So as we try to grab onto more control in all areas of our life, we actually end up being controlled by the control, becoming the very thing that we are trying to avoid. But a great way to counteract this, as it says in Ecclesiastes 3:11, is to cultivate this spirit of thankfulness through every season. Through those seasons where we feel completely out of control and it is so difficult. Through those seasons where actually we are just celebrating that things seem to be working well. Like, we are constantly encouraging our kids, like, say diolch, say thank you, be thankful for this, don't waste your food, because we want to be thankful for all the work and effort that's gone into that. We want to be thankful for what we've got. But how hard is it as we get older to actually keep that spirit of thankfulness and gratefulness in our everyday lives? Like, it's so easy to fall into the view that everything is just a little bit tainted or just not quite good enough. And we can carry a critical spirit into all that we do. And like, this is definitely my default, especially when I'm tired, to fall into this critical viewpoint. And I'd regularly need challenging, mostly by Rach, mostly daily, around actually, be thankful, be grateful. Those around me that know me well, that can spot that in me, that are saying like, you're carrying that critical spirit. Actually, see thankfulness, see goodness in this. But how can we carry this spirit of thankfulness into every season? Through all the good seasons where it's easy to be thankful, birthdays, it's easy to be thankful for gifts coming in, isn't it? But how about the small gifts that are done even through the tough seasons, even through those moments? And one way to do that is remember this verse, Ecclesiastes 3:11. God makes everything beautiful in its own time, and we cannot fathom all that God has done. So firstly, we want to cultivate a thankful spirit, that no, God will make things beautiful out of us, out of the dust of our lives, when everything feels broken and rotten, that God will make things good in our lives, whether it is this life or the next. In that desert place, that we can find that living water, that although all might seem lost, that we can find something that says, be thankful in this situation, a living water that can quench that thirst, to know that actually, although things around us might seem broken and lost, but Father God makes everything beautiful in its own time. And then know that for all of our striving, for all of our trying, for all of our grasping onto control on our lives, God does far more than we could ever fathom. Yes, we can still challenge and wrestle of like, why is there suffering? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to people I care about? Yeah, that is good. but ultimately that we stop daily, we turn our eyes upon Jesus, look full in his face and say, Father God, I do not know what's going on in the grand scheme of this, but I just put my trust in you because I cannot fathom all that is going on here. I don't understand it. Or to put it into a harvest context, maybe all we have is a clod of mud and some seeds, and we look at it and go, I can't be fed off this. Nothing good can come from just mud and these tiny seeds that won't feed my family. Yet when we plant them, when we cultivate that right spirit, that right atmosphere for the seeds to grow, they can grow into a harvest 10, 100, 1,000 times more than the seeds we started with. And so maybe in all these seasons, this is something we just need to keep coming back to, this gratefulness, thankfulness posture of our hearts. As we can so easily do on harvest celebrations where we are like, look at this vegetable, isn't it great? Wow. But to go into every day of life, having that, just going like, God, things are great and I thank you for it. Or God, things are really tough in this area. I just want to thank you for the hard work that is going in and just pray that in your timing, things will come good. And so we're going to just reflect and just have an opportunity to pause and to ask God and to pray to God, either through thankfulness of something good in our lives, or to actually say, God, I don't know what's going on. I cannot fathom the scale of what you are doing, but I put my trust in you now. With a song that we're going to put on. So it's the Desert Song by Hillsong. And some of the lyrics in this are, my God is the God who provides. All of my life, in every season, you are still God, and I have a reason to sing. I have a reason to worship. In all of my life, in every season, you are still God, and I have a reason to sing, and I have a reason to worship. So feel free to stay seated. If you know the song, you want to sing along and declare that, great. Or if you just want to let it wash over you as you pray, then please do.